Gary Smith from the GMB. You're out here in Brussels to discuss the Hinkley Point power station. It's been an ongoing issue. What are the chances that the EU could cause further delay to this project?
There is a waste transfer contract that still has to be dealt with by the European Commission. We've impressed upon the Commission today the importance of getting this contract resolved and quickly. We have to say that everything the European Commission said they would do, they have done on time. So we're pretty confident this contract issue will be resolved.
I mean, waste has been a huge problem for the UK when it comes to nuclear in the past. If all is okay on this particular contract in the eyes of European law, does all look okay, or is there a wider, broader issue where you have concerns?
Well, I would stress the European Commission has done what they said they would do on time. The real problem with nuclear waste in the UK is the government's own strategy. It's in utter disarray. The British government effectively has no long-term strategy for nuclear waste at the moment, and this has to be dealt with. And let's not forget, we are looking at massive cuts in the budgets for decommissioning old nuclear sites, including those in the southwest of England, and those cuts will probably come into force next year. If that happens, it will leave any suggestion we've got a strategy for nuclear waste in absolute tatters.
What are you expecting the EU, should the EU do anything about this lack of a strategy when it comes to waste? Does it affect the EU? Do you think pressure from Europe might help if you feel that it's ultimately detrimental to the British government?
We have spoken to the Commission about our concerns about the British government. This is a government that's quick to criticise the European Commission when it suits them. We've brought our concerns to the attention of both the Commission and members of the European Parliament, and we hope they'll follow this up with the British government. We are pro-nuclear. New nuclear is very important in producing low-carbon electricity, but the people of Britain rightly expect us to have a strategy in place to deal with the waste, and at the moment this government doesn't have one.
If these issues are not sorted out, is there a risk that this power station is going to be delayed further, and what would the impact of that be locally on jobs?
There is a risk to the project. In law, there has to be a strategy to deal with nuclear waste, and any delay will have a disastrous impact in terms of the local economy and across the UK in terms of the manufacturing supply chain. It would be bad news for the environment, it would be bad news for jobs as well.
You mentioned the environment there. There's outstanding, it looks like we may have legal action ahead challenging this power station and challenging the EU's support so far for it. How much of a threat do you see that as being on the horizon?
Having looked quite carefully at possible legal challenges, and we won't know if there's a legal challenge possibly until next March. We don't think the legal challenge is a serious threat. We understand that our colleagues in Austria are concerned about nuclear power, they're anti-nuclear, but the reality is in Europe, nation states have the right to decide which sources of power they're going to use. UK is pro-nuclear, and it's eminently sensible that we build new nuclear power stations. They're safer and more efficient than the power stations that we've had historically, and they themselves have been very safe and efficient.
That said, the Green groups argue that the system that the UK government is proposing, that the European Commission has now supported, the so-called strike price, has broader implications for the renewable sector. It makes nuclear too cheap, it's going to threaten the renewable sector, they say, and therefore they're proposing these legal challenges. Are these issues that are still lying ahead when it comes to Hinkley?
Well, the Green groups, and by the way, there is no single position amongst Green groups. Some are pro-nuclear because they realise it's a low-carbon way of producing electricity. But the Green groups need to bear in mind, those who are anti-nuclear, that both renewables and nuclear depend on subsidies. We can call it strike prices, we can call it whatever you want. The truth is, both these industries are expensive and they're heavily dependent on subsidy. There is no cheap and easy options for the UK. If renewables can't meet all the electricity demand in the country, and even if they could, it's very, very expensive. And we've never hidden the fact, as a pro-nuclear union, that nuclear requires a public subsidy to make it viable too.
Just to sum up then, how important is this project for Somerset?
This project is massively important for Somerset. You're already starting to see positive economic impact even before the construction has started, as companies have started to invest in Somerset. It's given new confidence to many people in Somerset. It's going to be absolutely crucial to the economy in the southwest, and it's got wider ramifications around the UK, because don't forget the UK manufacturing supply chain, this is high value end, is going to benefit from this project as well.